The guest brought Crown of Laurel to the Roadshow for appraisal, which also had an inscription on it. It was made from 150 pieces, locked and interlocked, crafted from a walnut bedstead. This crown was presented from one captain to another in the infamous Libby Prison during the Civil War. Libby Prison served as a temporary confinement for Union prisoners of war during the American Civil War between 1861 and 1865. Some of the prisoners were indeed artists. The appraiser suggested the price of this crown between $8,000 to $10,000. The guest appeared to express approval of it. The guest brought some beautiful plates for appraisal, which she collected from different sources. The appraiser noted the distinct markings on the brown transferware plates, identifying the manufacturer as Alfred Meakin from Staffordshire, England.
But there's some information here, and it says dishwasher and detergent safe. So these are actually fairly recent. These are probably from about the 1970s.
Moving on to a hand-painted plate, the appraiser explained its significance within the English aesthetic movement, influenced by Japanese design. Despite its unmarked appearance, closer inspection revealed subtle details, shedding light on its age and origin. The appraiser continued with a pair of finely crafted plates. He mentions marks and symbols on their back.
And this particular mark was used between 1849 and 1870.
These plates had beautiful scenes from real places on them. The appraiser estimated the worth of each plate.
Now, the English plate, the Minton plate, is probably worth between $400 and $600 in a retail type situation. And then the KPM plates are the best ones. They're worth between $2,000 and $3,000 for the pair in a retail situation.
The guest seemed to agree with the price. The guest shared the remarkable story about acquiring a pocket watch. Originally, it belonged to her grandfather, who served on the ship Fredonia. He and his crew rescued 315 passengers from a distressed vessel by sacrificing the cargo. In gratitude, Queen Victoria's government presented the guest's grandfather with the Demi Hunter pocket watch. This watch featured a unique design with a cutout circle, allowing for easy time checking. The watch had a classic full-size dial with white porcelain enamel and Roman numerals. It also had an inscription on the back acknowledging Davis's humanity.
Presented by Her Majesty's government to Jacob S. Davis, first mate of the Fredonia of Gibraltar.
The pocket watch has a chain resembling a nautical anchor chain, adding to its historical appeal. The value estimated by the appraiser was...
I think a fair auction estimate would be $4,000 to $6,000.
Oh my goodness.
The guest on the show brought a Chinese porcelain fan plaque, which she had purchased several years ago on her trip to China. The fan plaque was originally made in China, around the Qianlong period in the 1920s, depicting a monk and his attendants who are often referred to as immortal figures within Chinese mythology. Also on the plaque is a bat, associated with good fortune. Although this is an unsigned plaque, it still has all the elements of distinctiveness because it was molded, making it a very rare piece to come across in the auction marketplace. The appraiser valued this fan plaque around $4,000.
Oh, very nice. Thank you.
What we have here are two Meeson cherubs, some of the earliest furniture pieces, indicating figures pressing two hearts together. These pieces were made by Meeson, the oldest porcelain factory in Europe known for innovative and timeless pieces. Under each cherub is an underglazed blue crossed swords mark, which could be classified as the Meeson Company's mark. Despite the condition issues on one of the cherubs, it still commands a considerable value of about $600 to $800 in the auction market, while the other cherub, with no condition issues, was appraised for about $1,500 to $2,000. These Costa Rican jadeite pendants were brought to the show by this guest, who had inherited them from his great-uncle. These jades are mostly found in the Guanacaste-Nicoya region, dating back to 300 to 900 AD. Each jadeite piece was a core part of Costa Rican society, symbolizing power. Presumably, the two bottom pieces are called axe gods, while the one on top, with alligator heads on either side, was mostly used as a pendant. Despite these jadeites being reproduced, they are very authentic, which places a premium on their value. Cumulatively, the appraiser valued them around $3,000 to $5,000.
Thank you. I had no
So
idea.
I made your day.
Yeah, happy dance.
What we have here is an American folk art rag doll that was brought to the show by this guest, who had inherited it from her stepdad. These are incredibly rare dolls that feature bulging eyes, large pointy fingers, and hands with an original baby shoe and oilcloth. The doll was produced in the 1980s, which can be seen from its fading appearance. The rag doll is still a coveted piece among doll and folk art collectors, and this doll in particular, in its original condition, is valued at $2,000 to $3,000 by the appraiser.
So he's a really nice find,
yeah.
and I'm glad you're going to keep him in the
Guess I better
family.
get him insured.
The guest inherited the print from her husband. It was created by Munakata Shiko, who was a famous Japanese artist. The guest's husband was a professor of Asian studies at NYU, hosted Munakata Shiko at their home for an open house. Munakata Shiko created the print as a demonstration for the party guests.
And he felt very grateful that my husband invited him, so he did this as a demonstration.
The print was signed and dated July 27, 1959, by Munakata Shiko.
And then visited my husband's home because he had an open home. My husband was the professor at the University of New York.
The presence of minor foxing or staining on the print makes it unique. The appraiser discusses Munakata Shiko's artistic style.
Because, as you know, he worked in a very rough and aggressive manner and often used the ends of boxes.
The estimated value of the print would be,
I would say in a retail market that a piece like this would be in the range of $6,000 to $7,000.
Wow, it's hard to believe.
This remarkable salesman's prospectus from 1882 showcases the subscription process for Colonel Richard Irving Dodge's book, published by the guest's great-grandfather, who was a publisher of books. The prospectus features colorful illustrations and an introduction, offering a glimpse into the content of the book and enticing potential subscribers. Notable subscribers include President Chester A. Arthur, Robert Lincoln, Ulysses S. Grant, and even Buffalo Bill.
One of the more interesting ones here that I find is one of the very last ones was Buffalo Bill, William Cody. So again, you have these great famous figures of the day and their signatures.
Among others, highlighting the book's significance and appeal to prominent figures of the time. The book provides a first-hand account of Indian life on the Great Plains, offering insights into both the peaceful and turbulent aspects of Native American culture. The prospectus is estimated to be worth between $8,000 and $12,000 at auction.
Oh boy, that's really something.
This unique Navajo weaving, inherited from Great Aunt Lil, has long intrigued the guest, who is curious about the meaning behind its intricate symbols. Although the exact symbolism remains a mystery to both the guest and the appraiser, it is confirmed to be a Navajo weaving, highly sought after by collectors, especially pictorial weavings. The weaving's unusual design has puzzled experts, with its figure depicting something unfamiliar and rare in Navajo artistry. Despite the ambiguity surrounding its symbolism, the weaving's rarity and uniqueness make it a desirable piece for Navajo weaving enthusiasts, with a pre-auction estimate ranging from $4,500 to $6,500. This 1930s banjo, a cherished family heirloom, holds a rich history of musical talent passed down through generations. Originally purchased by the guest's grandfather, who taught himself to play, the banjo was later passed on to the guest's father and then inherited by the guest.
And this is the regular banjo, the RB11, the 5-string.
Okay.
Very rare in this period. This is probably about 1936, 37, something like that.
During this period, Gibson produced very few 5-string banjos, as the tenor banjo had become more popular by the mid-1920s. The banjo features an original perloid fingerboard, often humorously referred to as mother of toilet seat, with intricate designs intact, along with a perloid resonator and original blue paint. Remarkably, the banjo retains all its original components. Given the resurgence in popularity of bluegrass and the 5-string banjo, the appraiser values this instrument at a conservative estimate of at least $5,000.
My goodness.
Perhaps.
Believe it or not, these seemingly ordinary stick pins were found at yard sales for just $1 or $2.
So you brought a bunch in,
I did.
and you know what's going to happen. I'm going to pick one out. I love to tell you I'm going to pick out three, but I'm going to pick one out, and I'm going to tell you about it, okay?
The stunning pink stone is not coral, but a rare conch pearl. Green stones surrounding the pearl hold another surprise. They're not emeralds, but valuable dematoid garnets.
But
Yes.
it's in this beautiful fan design from the early 1900s.
This piece is a truly rare find and is adorned with genuine old mine diamonds. Appraiser estimates this could go for a staggering
$1,500 to
Get
$2,000, and that's at auction. I would think you probably have to insure it for around $3,000.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That was well worth the wait.
The guest attended an arts and craft show in Tuscaloosa and purchased a Howard Finster artwork. Visionary preacher Howard Finster transformed everyday trash into a vibrant paradise garden bursting with Bible verses.
He was a minister, but to pay the bills and take care of his family, he was also a fix-it man. He was a house painter. He was a carpenter, a bricklayer. He fixed bicycles and lawnmowers.
Finster started having visions as a young man and began preaching in his teens. The Garden Museum is now called Paradise Garden. Finster believed God instructed him to paint 5,000 pictures to spread the gospel, and he numbered his paintings. This artwork is dated 1996 and has a lengthy verse on the front.
It's a combination of media. He worked in oil, but he also used regular house paint, so he tended to use whatever he had available.
He loved an audience and often preached while he painted. The verse continues on the back, offering another layer of Finster's artistic and spiritual message. REM, filmed in his garden, brought Finster fame. This one-of-a-kind Finster creation could fetch.
And in the current market, you're probably looking more like $1,000 to $1,500 were you to sell it at auction. So
that's very good. I'll enjoy it.
if you were to insure it, I would probably just about double that figure.
For insurance purposes, it is valued at around $3,000. Paintings are always a window into creativity, but this one has a story that sets it apart. At a neighborhood yard sale, someone found a cool painting among other stuff like frames and tennis rackets, all bought for just $30. Even though they didn't know the artist at first, they were drawn to the painting's texture and the label and signature on the back. The artist turned out to be Kojin Toniyama, known for his unique style. He went from teaching in Japan to becoming famous in Mexico. The painting, which is abstract and made with different materials, is of special kind. It's not just about the money, though. The painting has a story and makes people think about art in a new way. An expert suggested it can be sold for $4,000 because of its rarity and the artist's fame.
Maybe in Japan, much more.
Okay.
These striking obelisks, inherited from a friend who believed they were from the Edwardian era, it holds a much older history dating back to around 1790. Made of English pearlware, these obelisks feature a cream-colored glaze with a slight blue cast, decorated to resemble the rare and expensive stone poppifer, popular in the late 18th century, likely made by Wood and Caldwell, successors of Enoch Wood or possibly Ralph Wood. These obelisks were manufactured in Staffordshire, England,
which made various types of English pottery, pearlware, and so forth in the late 18th century.
While the obelisks exhibit minor imperfections, highly sought after by collectors of 18th century English pottery, these obelisks are not only valued for their historical significance, but also for their decorative charm, often used to adorn mantels and interiors. And despite their minor damages, the retail or insurance value for this pair falls between $3,000 and $5,000.
So they're really, really spectacular.
Wow.
Yeah.
A guest brought a woodland burlwood bull that belonged to her grandparent. The woodland burlwood bull is a handcrafted wooden bull made from burlwood, which is known for its unique and intricate grain patterns. This bull is often prized for its natural beauty and can be used for decorative purposes. It is typically made by skilled artisans who carefully select and shape the burlwood to highlight its natural features.
Its job today is to sit on my dining room table with silk flowers in it.
Okay. Well, I'm really glad you brought this bowl in. My twin brother and I collected burl.
The size, shape, and finish making the bull a unique piece of art. This bull is often sought after for their aesthetic appeal and can add a touch of rustic elegance to any home decor. The appraiser values it.
Auction estimate on this bowl at $8,000.
Oh my.
to $12,000.
It's wonderful.
The guests brought their father's baseball memorabilia to be appraised. Her father, Randy Gumpert, was a baseball player who started young, pitching batting practice for the Philadelphia A's at 16. He got his start with the Philadelphia A's team, led by Connie Mack, from pitch batting practice for the Athletics to pitching in the majors. After the war, he played for the Yankees in 1946, 1947, and 1948. After which he went to play for the Red Sox, the White Sox, and finally for the Washington Senators, which is where his career ended.
So what happened after that?
He worked for the Yankees as a manager. He would go down to spring training as an instructor.
I mean, your dad started in 1936.
The collection included a 1930s A's jersey, a 1947 New York Yankees World Series ring, and 1958 New York Yankees cufflinks. The jersey is from pitching batting practice, because there's no number on the back, making this his very first professional uniform at 16 years old. It's really an incredible collection that holds both historical and sentimental significance. At auction, however, the collection would sell for
Would be $75,000.
These uniforms, we have the 2 Yankee uniforms at home. We wore them for Halloween costumes. We did.
The guest inherited a beautiful set of Art Deco jewelry, likely from her wealthy great-grandmother in San Francisco. The suite comprised a ring, a bracelet, and a pearl necklace with a pendant, all made of platinum and accented with diamonds and sapphires. The sapphires here are synthetic and were probably made on the east coast of the United States. While the pieces weren't signed by the same maker, their geometric design and use of materials confirmed their Art Deco origin. The bracelet, the guest's favorite piece, featured a central diamond between 0.6 and 0.9 carats, surrounded by smaller diamonds for a total weight of 3 carats. The estimated value is
an auction estimate to be in the $10,000 to $15,000 range.
The ring, also in excellent condition, has a central diamond of about 2 carats and was estimated at
Would be around $12,000 to $18,000.
The necklace showcased a 3-carat old cushion-cut diamond in the center, surrounded by smaller diamonds and cultured pearls. The pearl strand and clasp were later additions, but the overall value is estimated at.
And I think a good auction estimate for that piece is going to be about $25,000 to $35,000.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, lovely suite you've got there. Nice.
Wow.
Found at an estate auction for just $800 each. Could these French porcelain vases be worth a fortune? Dating back to 1880, these vases are steeped in the history of the aesthetic period. The aesthetic period was influenced by Middle Eastern and Far Eastern designs. Hand-painted porcelain vases boast vibrantly colored, leaf-shaped panels in an intricate enamel-work design. The beautifully crafted gilt bronze mounts, incorporating an onyx base, showcase charming scenes of boats on meadows adorning the vases. The appraiser values these French vases at a potential windfall of
These would have come up for auction on the East Coast. I could quite easily sing them with an estimate of between $8,000 and $12,000.
Oh, that
so
sounds
you,
good.
you did really well.
Okay.
Time takes a toll on these pieces, with their value dropping to a range of $3,000 to $5,000.
The guest inherited this masterpiece, a KPM porcelain clock, from her grandmother. It was made in 1890. The guest has childhood memories of hearing the clock chime and seeing it on her great-great-aunt's mantelpiece. It has 3 separate parts: the top, the central clock, and the base. One manufacturer would have crafted the porcelain, while a different one would have made the clock. Its look is German, and its quality is spectacular in terms of detailing, modeling, and paint. Its top can be lifted off, and we can see the red mark of KPM on the underside. It is the mark of Royal Berlin, a spectacular porcelain factory located in Berlin. It features Kronos, the Greek god of time, on top, wonderful female sphinxes on the side, and a cherub at the bottom. It was likely an exhibition piece, perhaps shipped to the U.S. for display in an exhibition. The clock is manufactured by the Lenschkert Company. The clock is wonderful. It's an impressive piece, but its value could increase by repairing damages and fixing the clock, costing $3,000 to $4,000. Being the most expensive clock of its time, its value would be
Between $25,000 and $35,000.
Oh, wow.
Lord.
Yeah. Oh, my goodness. Well, that's amazing. Thank you.
This young man purchased a Yoruba Orisha Oko shaft and beaded sheath at a New York gallery 35 years ago for $7,500. The appraiser praised the object, considering it one of the finest and most elaborate examples of its kind. Explaining its cultural significance, the appraiser highlighted that Orisha Oko is a Yoruba deity associated with fertility and crop protection. The iconography, including references to other Yoruba gods, suggested the owner's importance. The exceptional condition of the piece was emphasized, placing its creation around the first quarter of the 20th century. Despite the current market conditions, the appraiser estimated its auction value at $10,000 to $15,000. But the price could be higher when presented in a gallery.
I feel confident that a gallery would ask $20,000 to $30,000 for this.
Oh,
That's
okay.
not bad.
It's not bad.
Oh, my word, I just can't believe it.
A guest brought beautiful necklace and her great-grandmother's portrait to the show. It was Louis Tiffany necklace, which she inherited from her great-grandmother. Louis Tiffany necklaces embody the Art Nouveau style with natural motifs. It was dated to be between 1900 and 1908. Vibrant colors, often from gemstones and iridescent glass, are a hallmark of Tiffany's designs. Crafted with meticulous attention to detail, the first lines and the wirework. At the center was expensive black opal. Tiffany's innovative techniques in glassmaking and jewelry design sets this piece apart. The appraiser values it from 3 viewpoints.
As a wonderful piece of historic jewelry, it would be $8,000 to $10,000. The Tiffany piece would be priced at $15,000 to $20,000. Auction estimate on a piece like this can go as high as $30,000 to $40,000.
Oh, my word, I just can't believe it.
My children will be very interested too, because as you know, eventually it'll be theirs.
Beyond its beauty, these white jade carvings are steeped in symbolism. This collection was acquired by the guest's husband while in Korea after the Second World War.
And he offered to trade my husband whatever he gave him American for this jade collection.
Originating from China, the jades date back to the 18th century. The white jade from which these items were crafted was predominantly mined in China. Included in the collection are a bai disc, a censer, a brush washer, and an incense vase. At auction, these historically significant Chinese carvings would each be valued at
Between $10,000 to $15,000 at auction.
Interestingly, all of these jades were made for the Chinese imperial court at the time.
Taste. Other wealthy merchants decided that they wanted to collect the things that the emperor collected.
The demand for a collection like this is very high in the market. Altogether, these items, in such good condition, would fetch an overall auction value of
$40,000 to $60,000 easily at auction.
My children will be very interested too, because as you know, eventually it'll be theirs.
Oh, okay, I had no idea. Wow.
This exquisite diamond necklace by Howard & Company was brought to the show by our guest. It was entrusted to her family by Nellie Bonaparte before being passed to the guest's mother. Manufactured around 1895, it is a convertible necklace.
Turn this over, we're going to see the shepherd's hook on the reverse.
I've never even heard of a shepherd's hook.
Well, it's a jewelry attachment that comes up behind the jewel.
Okay.
Designed in the early Edwardian style with European cut diamonds.
The diamonds are old European cut diamonds.
This piece features platinum-topped gold surrounding the diamonds with a total weight of 20 carats. While not marked by Howard & Co., the necklace attribution to Nellie Bonaparte, along with its original box, adds value. The appraiser values this necklace at around $35,000 to $40,000.
Oh, okay, I had no idea. Wow. Great.
This Chinese porcelain vase, a gesture of gratitude from oppressed Chinese Christians during the Boxer Rebellion, was gifted to the guest's great-grandfather.
And they actually took several in and protected them. So as a gesture of their gratitude, they presented them with this gift of a vase.
Originating from the late 19th century, its shape references a 2nd century form known as hue. The vase features a beautiful design, with the front depicting clouds rising and a carp emerging from the waves, a symbol of good luck. The back showcases 2 dragons and a flaming pearl. Inscriptions on the bottom translate to the period the vase was made.
The mark says, Da Ming Wan Li Nin Zhi, which means this was made in the Wan Li period, which is 1572 to 1620.
As a token of deep appreciation, this vase is priceless. But if we must assign a value, it is estimated to be worth about
the $10,000 to $20,000 range.
A wedding gift from one renowned artist to another. This plaque holds historical and artistic value. Our guest's husband's great-grandfather was the sister-in-law of the recipient, Francis David Millet.
Given to my husband by his mother and by her mother, and her mother was the sister-in-law to Francis David Millet.
Francis was an American academic classical painter, sculptor, and writer. He was one of the founders of the School of the Museum of Fine Arts in Boston and was renowned for his mural paintings and designs, including the 1907 Civil War Medal and the 1908 Spanish Campaign Medal. Augustus St. Gaudens, a close friend of Francis, gifted him this plaque in 1879 when he married Elizabeth Greeley Merrill. The plaque is a phenomenal piece, identifying Millet as an artist in medieval style, crafted using the sand cast technique. This piece signifies the mutual respect and high regard between these 2 influential artists, which brings its auction value to
the $4,000 to $6,000 range.
Very good. Thank
you. The guest came with the Maine pine blanket chest. He inherited it as he went into the Navy. The butt hinges, the way the lock is installed, the other fasteners tell. It is made around the time of the 3rd quarter of the 19th century. These wonderfully painted red and green rope handles. Carving underneath here almost looks like wingtips. Appraised for $1,500 to $2,500.
Oh boy.
This porcelain piece belonged to their mother, an older item in their possession. There is this scene that you can depict. Amid cheers and cannon fire, Lafayette arrives on the Cadmus, greeted by Fulton and Livingston. Clews pottery, from James and Ralph Clews, was a hallmark of early 19th century Staffordshire, England. Clews' fruit bowls and stands balance function and beauty with elaborate motifs and vibrant colors. Some of Clews' pottery featured American scenes. Earthenware, known for its porous nature, was the primary material used, ideal for decorative glazes. The holes in this fruit stand are purely for decorative purposes. These pieces serve both functionally and decoratively, embodying Regency and early Victorian style. With its intricate motifs and vibrant colors, the appraiser valued the item
$3,000 and maybe as much as $5,000.
So I did well at the yard sale.
Oh my gosh. Oh, I had no idea.
She discovered a collection of documents signed by Robert E. Lee while cleaning out their late father's apartment. The documents, dating back to the 1840s, were from Lee's time in the United States Army when he served in the Engineering Corps. The appraiser noted the rarity of pre-Civil War documents signed by Lee. The owner mentioned a previous valuation of about $800 for the entire collection, but the appraiser provided a more significant estimate. Each document was valued at $2,000 to $3,000 apiece.
For the whole collection, I would be surprised. Oh my gosh.
Only a few people can recount their experiences during World War II, and today's guest's father was one of those people.
A prisoner during World War II. The Red Cross had come and distributed these wartime logs.
Serving in World War II as a prisoner of war, our guest's father was able to put his horrendous experiences working as a cleaner into writing.
This shelter in the latrines, and that's where he would keep it. Incidentally, he had a nickname of Stinky.
Stinky, okay.
To many history fanatics, this war log provides an in-depth experience into what prisoners faced and how it came on to shape their lives after World War II. This war log represents 18 months of war history, and inside we have poems and drawings made not just by our guest's father, but by other prisoners who also recounted their experiences in the form of written reports. Featured is a mugshot of the guest's father, and this was the norm at the time since prisoners of war were really treated as prisoners. Even though the war log represents a piece of history most people would rather forget, it still holds a precious memory in the minds of folks who were involved and redefines patriotism at its peak. Hence, this war log auctions at
auction, this is somewhere in the $1,500 to $2,000 range as a memento of the service that he provided to the country.
That's great.
The guest came with the Will and Fink Bowie knife. He got it from his grandfather. It's the first Will and Fink knife to come on the show. Will and Fink began manufacturing knives in 1863. Notice this clasp that holds it onto your belt. It's marked Will and Fink SF Cal on both sides. The best feature is its beautiful grips. Condition-wise, it's excellent. It's got a little bit of deterioration. Appraised for $30,000.
That's great.
My wife's not going to believe that, but she's out there somewhere watching. That's okay. I'll have to tell her.
The guest brought pre-contact Eskimo's walrus adze handle to the show. He inherited it from his wife's aunt. The pre-contact Eskimo walrus adze handle is a tool used for carving wood. It is made from walrus ivory and was carved using stone tools. The handle is decorated with abstract designs, which may have spiritual significance. This tool was used by the Eskimo people who lived in Alaska and Canada before contact with Europeans. The walrus adze handle provides insight into the culture and lifestyle of the Eskimo people. The walrus adze handle is both a beautiful work of art. It has extraordinary inland circles, and they're on all sides. Also has an axe head at the end of it. The appraiser values it to be
between $30,000 and $50,000. My wife's not going to believe that, but she's out there somewhere watching. That's okay. I'll have to tell her.
This is a stainless steel prime rib table service cart. The guest purchased it a couple of years ago from the John Ascuaga's warehouse auction.
Which was mainly just surplus equipment. John Ascuaga came to town in the early 50s and started with a restaurant with maybe a couple slot machines, I'm not sure. He's the last of the original 50s era casino operators that still is alive and operating his own casino.
It has sterno heat in it, and it keeps your prime rib sizzling, and it served the prime rib at the table. He originally used this when he first opened up in Sparks in the early 50s. There's some debate about whether or not they were made in Europe or whether they were made in the United States. This seems to be a really unusual cart in the metal. The form is just wonderful. Now, a piece like this at auction would probably bring
between $6,000 and $8,000.
It drew a lot of attention on the way in.
It certainly did.
The guest came with Schlagenwald doll head. She inherited it from her mother. It's a German China head. Very nice portrait face. Very low. Super duper hairdo with this sort of loop in the back. Made by Schlagenwald, a company in Germany. It dates from the late 1840s. Appraised for $2,500 to $3,000.
It kind of floors me. I didn't realize it would be that much.
This man received a painting from his wife's aunt, who lived in New Jersey, and inherited it from her husband. The painting is created by Lynn Bogue Hunt, an illustrator known for his work on book illustrations, duck stamps, and magazine covers, including Field and Stream. The painting, dated January 1942, features an English setter and an English pointer with bow white quail. The artwork's condition was praiseworthy, even the medium oil on canvas, and its significance as a Field and Stream cover. The estimated value for the painting was astounding, considering its desirability and the artist's reputation.
Trying to be conservative when we estimate things for auctions, but I would estimate this $20,000 to $30,000. Wow.
It kind of floors me. I didn't realize it would be that much.
The guest came with the 1788 New York Daily Advertiser. She got it from her family. This is from Tuesday, July 22nd, 1788. New York paper. The date's right up there. It's the Daily Advertiser. It's a wonderful rag paper. But what I particularly liked about this paper, this is the Constitution, with some holes in them, and that does affect the value, but most of the text is intact. Appraised for $2,500 to $3,500.
Typically, the things in my family were passed down from oldest son to oldest son.
Today's episode features a Gibson ES 335 guitar. The guest exchanged a 1939 Chevrolet for it in 1971. The owner, who originally purchased it in California, played country and western music, while the guest plays rock and roll and country and western with it.
I haven't used it in some years, but back in the 70s I did quite a bit. Played a lot of barn dances.
This guitar stands as one of the two iconic classic guitars, blending the solid body and the hollow body to offer the best of both worlds.
B.B. King, Keith Richards, but it was really championed and became really popular.
It effectively eliminates the feedback often experienced with hollow-bodied guitars. Introduced in 1958, it underwent several variations and featured different pickups over time.
On it had what was called PAF pickups, and they discontinued those in 1962 and went with these.
This model was favored by numerous famous artists, gaining popularity when Eric Clapton began using it. Available in various color variations, this particular one boasts a regular sunburst finish. Although its value decreased in 1992, this unique guitar now holds significant worth.
Guitar at a retail price would be $12,000 to $12,500.
The guest came with the Bay Bridge photo album. She got the album from her father. There's a great mix of prints in this album. These are the commercial photographs with the printing on the negative. Says he's on top of the main tower, Casper, and it has a little arrow drawn. A nice personal story behind the building of Bay Bridge. The Bay Bridge was constructed between 1933 and 1936, appraised for $400 to $600.
Kidding.
No.
Okay, that's much more valuable than I would have thought.
This woman shared a fascinating story behind this treasured family heirloom, a beautifully crafted snake jug.
All I know is that it was used, I believe, for alcohol, and that the $500 referenced some obtaining of a liquor license at the time.
Made by the Anna Pottery Company in 1884. Anna Pottery Company was known for their expertise in stoneware pottery.
Pottery to express their political beliefs.
The company produced pieces highly sought after by collectors for their versatility. This jug features inscriptions related to temperance and political corruption, adding to its historical significance. This piece is especially unique due to its size and unusual form.
Because of the pinched form, when it was made round, and then they pinched it in to make it more of an oval shape.
Made with great thoughtfulness and still in perfect condition, this jug would conservatively sell for
$12,000 on it.
Okay, you're kidding.
No.
Okay, that's much more valuable than I would have thought.
The guest brought Philadelphia chest-on-chest furniture to the show. Her family inherited from their grandmother. It was originally in a family known as Marcoux. This furniture represents soldiers' resourcefulness and adaptability in wartime. Developed by craftsmen during the American Revolutionary War. It has Rococo Revival ornament on the top. The unique features of the furniture are the AOK attached to each drawer, quality wood material used, and the craftsmanship. One of the drawers was signed by Thomas Savage. The appraiser valued the furniture to be
$4,000 to $6,000 chest on chest. As a Philadelphia example, with the family history that you have and all those connections at auction, I think you could add a zero, and I think it's more like $40,000 to $60,000.
Ever seen a Long Quan Celadon dish before? It was used to repay a loan which was owed to the guest's father.
He loaned some money to a friend, and sometime later, the friend came back and said, I could not afford to pay you back, but just take this dish. So my father took it home and gave it to my grandfather.
It's from the Ming Dynasty, probably made in the 15th century. Now, Celadon is a glaze that's made out of iron oxide as a colorant fired in a reducing atmosphere. And it's one of the most popular glazes in China. This was a highly prized glaze used on pottery and porcelain, both for imperial use and for domestic use. This is a molded decoration with some hand carving and a beautiful example of its type. At auction today, this would be worth
$5,000 and $8,000 at auction.
Amazing.
Oh.
Take a look at this incredible sketch done by renowned sculptor Rodin for his sculptures. Rodin was known for his famous sculptures like The Kiss, The Thinker, but he was known for doing many of these drawings as well.
of these kind of drawings that I've seen tend to be not by Rodin. I picked this one out today because I think there is a reasonable shot that it's right.
The signature is certainly very assured, and the line appears very fluid. It's a mixture of graphite and watercolor, which is associated with Rodin. At auction, it's estimated to sell for
$8,000 to $12,000. If it subsequently turned out, in fact, that this was not by Rodin, the value would really be next to nothing.
This wonderful piece is one like you've never seen before. This is a Danish silver ewer. It was made in Copenhagen, 1865. If cleaned up, this piece would be a lot more eye-catching. At auction, it would sell for
$1,500.
This is an oil painting made on canvas. Our guest inherited it from her grandmother.
Who was born in Indian Territory in Oklahoma, and she grew up in Oklahoma. She had 8 brothers and sisters.
This piece of art was created by Joseph Amadeus Fleck. Fleck was an American painter and muralist renowned for his significant contributions to printmaking and expressionist art. This painting is titled The Old Santa Fe Road and depicts the historical route in the American Southwest, the Santa Fe Trail. Although the painting bears the artist's signature, it shows significant signs of wear.
We can see that there are paint losses here and here, and in fact
in the middle.
Here and across the sky, in fact, and some.
Being a significant painting by a renowned artist focusing on a significant aspect of American history, it would have an estimated value of
It's worth a little bit more. In spite of the condition problems at auction, I would expect it to make somewhere in the $6,000 to $10,000
Wow.
range.
Have you ever been invited for an execution before? Well, step right up because we have got here an invitation to an execution, a hanging. It's a fascinating example of Western frontier justice. Public executions were a way of administering justice.
We're a way of administering justice and making everyone around you know that, hey, if you're going to commit a crime, this is what may happen to you.
At auction, this piece is worth $1,500 to $2,000.
a charming glass sculpture in the form of a chick, the Vistosi Pulcino, arrived for appraisal. Presented to the guest as a gift from Italy in the mid-1960s, while initially attributed to Vistosi, the company that produced it.
Name is Pulcino. And Pulcino means young chicken or chick. And if you look at him, he really does look like a cute little 1960s chicken.
However, the true creator was Alessandro Pianon, a young designer who joined Vistosi in 1956. Pianon designed the Pulcino around 1963. Crafted from glass, the chick's body featured a textured surface reminiscent of feathers.
Signed, and that actually is to be expected. They shouldn't be signed. I'm sure there are ones out there, but as a rule, they're not.
This effect was achieved using the marine glass technique, where tiny glass fragments are incorporated into molten glass during the rolling process.
Line of designs, the designs of birds, and there were other ones, but I think this one is particularly charming because he almost has his own little feathers.
Spindly legs, like copper, provided both support and a fantastic touch to the design. The retail value of this incredible sculpture is estimated at around.
In a retail venue, this would sell in the neighborhood of $7,500.
Oh my goodness, that's a real shock.
During the estate sale of Johnny Weissmuller's wife's items, this guest acquired a beautiful piece of jewelry. Of American origin, this jewelry was crafted during the Second World War period, a time when materials were scarce and alloys were used to create jewelry. This is evident in the piece, with its yellow gold baton link and green gold pyramid link. The design of the jewelry also reflects the era, resembling the tracks left by war tanks on the ground. Typical of the 1940s, this piece holds significant importance in understanding the effects of the Second World War on the jewelry industry and the adaptive measures taken to overcome material shortages. As such, its auction value is estimated at
for about $6,000 today.
Oh, really?
Really?
Ah, that's amazing.
Oh my goodness. I just can't imagine that.
She got it from his grandmother, who got it from a moving and storage company in St. Louis. She bought it for $25. The 1916 Roseville Persian umbrella stand showcases Persian-influenced early 20th century American art pottery. It is also referred to as a creamware line due to its whitish background. Produced by the Roseville Pottery Company of Roseville, Ohio, this piece showcases intricate floral and geometric patterns. These patterns are often raised or embossed, creating a textured and detailed appearance. The rich color palette includes deep purple, greens, and beautiful flowers that complement the intricate designs. Made from high-quality ceramic, these stands are known for their durability and fine finish. In awe of its historical significance and craftsmanship, the appraiser valued the item
$1,700 and $2,300.
Oh my goodness. I just can't imagine that.
It's amazing what quality medical service can earn in barter. Our guest's grandfather, a doctor, received this painting as payment for his services.
This was my grandfather's. He was a doctor. The story goes that it was payment for medical services.
It's extraordinary how many doctors seem to have good art collections.
Painted by the renowned landscape artist Zoltán Szepesi, the oil painting depicts Lake Michigan. A high-born Hungarian, Zoltán emigrated to the United States in 1921 and became well-known in Detroit for his landscape paintings. This piece bears his signature and dates to around the mid-1930s. Showcasing his artistic brilliance, the uniqueness of this seascape puts the value of this piece at
$3,000 to $5,000.
Very nice, yeah.
We have an exceptional item based on Pearly Kings and Queens, a unique piece originally belonging to the guest's grandmother. She meticulously sewed every single button onto this fabric.
I don't know how long she spent, but it seemed like it'd take billions of years.
Creating an artistic masterpiece that weighs about 50 pounds. The piece includes a jacket and a skirt suit made from a basic black suit, which dates back to the 1970s. On the back of the fabric, there is an inscription indicating the reason the guest's grandmother crafted this piece.
It's a real showstopper. As you said, generally worn by the Pearly Kings and the Pearly Queens, who were predominantly known throughout England.
This beautifully designed piece, adorned with over 1,000 buttons, would have a value of
$2,000. Well, oh, wow.
This bat is a trophy from over a century ago. The guest's great-great-grandfather was the pitcher for the team that won the baseball championship in 1866.
This bat is my great-great-grandfather's. He played on a team in New London called the Pequods.
The trophy baseball bat bears the name of all the players on the team. The trophy was presented to the baseball champions of New London, Connecticut, by the Young Men's Association of Norwich. The bat is made of rosewood, a very rare and expensive material. Additionally, we have a team photograph showing the guest's great-great-grandfather holding the trophy bat. The inscription on the back of the photograph adds to its sentimental value.
So, in other words, your great-great-grandfather gave this bat, probably his most cherished possession, to your great-great-grandmother while he was courting her.
Awarded to the Pequods, this bat holds great significance to the history of the development of baseball and is estimated to be worth
$5,000 to $6,000. Whoa! As a family heirloom, absolutely priceless.
We are presented with a family heirloom passed down through generations of women in the guest's family. This is a bracket clock made by Thomas Wagstaff, a Quaker and an exceptional English clockmaker. What's special about this piece is that it's musical, not just an ordinary bracket clock, and was made circa 1770. It features a dial for shutting off the strike, a tune selection section, and retains its original cowtail pendulum, with foliate engraving on the back.
Plays on a nest of bells. Everything about it's original. The condition is fantastic.
Musical clocks like this are fairly rare and highly sought after. The retail value for this
$20,000 to $25,000.
Now I'm going to be brave enough to actually wind it and get to listen to it again.
Right here is a Newcomb College pottery. The guest inherited it from her mother. Most Newcomb pieces are typically blue and green, often with pale colors.
Newcomb tends to be blue and green. Those are the colors they used. And very often the blues and the greens are pale. This is a bright mint green.
The pottery is known for its distinctive style, which features intricate designs.
It has the typical Newcomb marks on the bottom, the Newcomb College NC mark, artist Anna Francis Simpson.
As seen, the covered potpourri jar color mimics fuchsia blossoms. Also, the trivet is larger than usual, with a thick round rim, oak and moss design, showing deep rich blue colors. Additionally, the tile's design is botanical. However, both of these pieces are considered uncommon expressions of the common forms that have a combined value of...
This is somewhere between $2,500 and $3,500 at auction.
That's exciting.
Good.
The guest brought a painting that was purchased by her mother at an auction in South Dartmouth, Massachusetts, in the early 1950s. The artist was Charles H. Gifford, a shoemaker turned painter from Fairhaven, Massachusetts. Gifford was inspired by the work of Albert Bierstadt and was part of the Luminist school of painting. The painting was a beautiful example of luminous art, with a dramatic yet serene and atmospheric quality. It was in good condition, aside from a small puncture and needing professional cleaning.
We were affiliated with the New Bedford area, and he had the opportunity to see this.
With restoration and cleaning, unlocking its full potential, it could be sold for...
Wouldn't surprise me at all to see it make more like $4,000 to $6,000.
Guest brings a violin and bow to the antiques treasure hunt. He inherited them from his father, who traded a house for this violin owned by a Polish girl.
That time was all through the Depression. There was no such thing as a good violin.
The instrument is believed to be a Jacobus Steiner. Jacobus Steiner was a renowned violin maker of the 17th century, influencing many. This violin is likely a later copy made in the late 18th century. Details suggest it was crafted in a town called Markham.
Oval-shaped sound holes. The eyes of the sound holes actually are the F-hole.
The accompanying bow, made by the Frechner Company in Germany, dates back to 1920. Appraiser values the violin as...
I feel that the value of the instrument, we might see about $500 on today's market.
Combined value of both items ranges from $2,000 to $2,300, but their updated worth now stands between $2,600 and $3,300. Guest brought in a miniature dinner set acquired by her mother in 1968.
Really are the most exquisite quality.
It was identical to one in Queen Mary's doll's house, a renowned national treasure. The appraiser shared background information about Queen Mary's doll's house, which was designed by Sir Edward Lutyens. They discussed the exquisite quality of the miniature pieces and their royal provenance. The intricate pieces in a small size were made by Minton's Limited. The set presented included 18 miniature plates, 3 sauce tureens, a sauce boat, and platters of various sizes. Identical to its sister set, the miniature plates had Queen Mary's cipher written on them in 22-karat gold. The appraiser highlighted the intricate detailing and marvelous gilding of the piece. Given the rarity and historical significance of the tea set, the suggested value stunned the guest.
I'm going to say that this service is worth £7,000 to £10,000.
What we have here is a beaded purse, originally belonging to the guest's great-grandmother and was purchased in 1931. This purse features an 18-karat gold adorned with jade plaques. Another standout feature is the lovely beaded panel. Additionally, it has winged griffins both at the front and back. This beautiful bag at auction would fetch a good amount of about...
And I would place a retail value on the bag between $4,000 and $5,000.
Showcased on the show today is an elegant Russian silver gilt and enameled egg, acquired by our guest from her grandmother. Inscribed at the front of the egg is Christos Voskaris, which translates to Christ is risen in English. This exquisite piece is crafted from silver and Champlave enamel. Furthermore, it was produced by a firm called Klebnikov in Russia.
Which is one of the real important names in Russian jewelry. Klebnikov was an imperial court jeweler.
Additionally, opening the egg reveals the gilt silver wash and Russian silver hallmarks with the marker visible within bearing the initials IKH.
In the Russian initials. Now, even though Ivan Klebnikov was originally from St. Petersburg, he moved and set up shop in Moscow in the 1870s.
At auction, this egg, with its well-preserved condition and intricate designs, is estimated to be worth...
I would put an auction estimate of about $2,000 to $3,000 on it.
A delicate piece of art glass was showcased on the show. It was gifted to the guest and the husband by someone.
We don't know anything about it except the person that gave it to us said that it was very special and she had no one in her family.
This item is Durand Art Glass, produced by the company called Vineland Flint Glassworks, founded by Victor Durand.
Son, Victor Durand Jr., established an art glass line, and that art glass line was called Durand Art Glass.
Furthermore, this piece of glass art dates back to circa 1924 to 1931. Depicted on the item is a leaf and vine design. Upon inspecting the bottoms of the glass, we can see a Durand signature. An elegant piece of history featuring such beautiful designs in such pristine condition would undoubtedly fetch an auction value of.
The pair would have sold for $2,500.
Oh, great, great. It's a beautiful piece.
Presented on the show is a cast iron bust. It belonged to the guest's great uncle. This piece of folk art was likely made in a foundry around 1900. It depicts a dignified American black man.
Okay. There's no marks on it where it was put on an anvil and did any handwork with it with a hammer or anything like that.
Interestingly, it was made as a whimsical piece by a worker during their off hours, known as end-of-day pieces.
Well, end of day was used in a lot of manufacturing places, glass, porcelain, foundries.
The bust shows traces of paint, particularly black for the hair, red for the lips, and some remnants around the eyes. While some might view this piece as a racially stereotypical depiction, it is a dignified representation with a price value of.
Conservatively out there in the market, it probably would be in the $1,000 to $1,500 range.
Okay.
Mesmerizing Chinese painting catches the eye with its vibrant colors and intricate details. It is a piece by Qi Baishi, a renowned 20th century Chinese artist. This painting is a rare treasure that is seldom seen in the market. It came to the family through a friend of the guest who obtained it from his father. This incredible painting was a gift to the guest's mother years ago, during the friend's stay in their home.
Years ago, when a friend of mine wanted to stay a couple of days at our house, he got the painting himself from it.
The significance of this piece is immense, considering Qi Baishi's stature in Chinese art history. In today's market, its estimated value is.
I put an auction estimate of $10,000 to $15,000.
$10,000 to $15,000 on that.
This unassuming miniature chest holds a story waiting to be unraveled. Discovered by a couple on a cross-country trip at an antique show, it piqued their interest as a potential addition to their doll collection. Dating back to the Federal period around 1815, its design points to a mid-Atlantic origin, possibly the Philadelphia area.
A miniature. If this were a full-sized tiger maple serpentine front chest, it wouldn't be worth as much.
The gracefully arched apron with its central spur and the serpentine front are hallmarks of this region's cabinet-making style.
Mid-Atlantic states cabinet making, which is a thrifty way to be able to lock the drawers, is what's known as the Quaker lock.
Its Quaker lock is a cost-saving measure without a complex mechanism.
On a mechanical lock in order to secure the top two drawers.
The chest boasts its original cast brass hardware and drawer banding, adding another layer of value. The appraiser estimates a potential auction value of.
If I were to bring this to auction today, I would put $6,000 to $9,000 on it.
Oh.
Perhaps the reason we don't have a lot of glass collectors is because of how fragile glass is. But today's guest doesn't seem to fit into that category because we can see featured here is a pair of mounted urns.
Beautiful bronze stands. There's marks on the bottom. I'm going to lift this up. It might be a little bit heavy.
Originally looking like it was made from porcelain, this pair is made from high-quality glass, and this has definitely contributed to its longevity and has shown how the pair has stood properly through the test of time. To further solidify their longevity, it is seen that these vases or urns were created in the late 19th century and are still of superior quality till now.
We can see the date January 1872, which I totally agree with that date, this late 19th century roughly.
It's no wonder that for a pair of quality glass pieces as these, they auction at.
Put a retail value of $5,000.
I'm delighted with that.
Featured on the show are a number of interesting items brought by this guest, which have been in his family for generations. We have on the show a vintage photograph and a letter dated July 9th, 1880, depicting where the guest's ancestor was applying for an Indian agent position in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Another item presented is a late classic Navajo chief's blanket featuring elaborate designs, including diamond-shaped patterns. The blanket was made from hand-spun goat wool, while on the red-colored diamond-shaped designs, there's the bayeta wool. Furthermore, some parts of the blanket are dyed in indigo.
Wonderful natural indigo dye. The way these blankets were worn, and if you'll help me take this down.
This blanket was worn by a tribal chief for ceremonial dances. Such a blanket showcases the craftsmanship of the indigenous peoples, and with its rich history, it constitutes an important part of Native American culture. It is estimated to be worth.
This blanket today would easily command between $20,000 and $30,000.
Is that right? Yeah, it certainly was.